Well, here it is, the 1K Q&A special. Now, before I begin reading the questions you guys sent in, I would just like to say once again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It is still crazy to me that after so long, I finally hit 1K. I cannot thank you guys enough. So, without further ado, let's begin. Question: what's your favorite Thomas twin? Now that's kind of hard to answer as I love both Donald and Douglas and Bill and Ben. But if I had to choose one, I'd have to go with Donald and Douglas. I don't know, I just enjoy the characters a lot, especially their theme. Do you plan on making Thomas into a proper E2 tank engine model? As a matter of fact, yes. I do have plans on making a proper E2 Thomas model at some point. What is your favorite or the most fun model to make, and what is your most expensive Trackmaster/Playroll item you've ever bought? My favorite model would have to be Duck, as I had a lot of fun trying to figure out how to build him. I tried my best to make him look as close to the TV series model as possible, and the end result was fabulous. I love this model so much, and it was such a joy to make. For the most expensive Playroll item that I've bought would have to be Steven or Flynn, as they range nearly close to $30. For the most expensive Trackmaster that I bought would have to be nearing $100 for that lot of Trackmaster items that I bought, and I don't regret it one bit. When did you first start modeling, and also, who inspired you to start modeling? I first started modeling way back before I started making videos, but the models were horrendous. But it shows growth, and honestly I'm very proud of how my models look today. I was also inspired by the many people in this fandom that make such incredible customs, like Carl Matthews 8 and Trainmaster 16, who make incredible Trackmaster models. When are you going to do a Thomas and Friends remake of The Adventure Begins? Because it's a good movie. I honestly don't know when I'll do a remake of this movie, but I've thought about it once or twice, and I'll probably be remaking it with Trackmasters if I end up doing it. When are you ever going to do a Thomas and Friends movie remake? I honestly don't know when I will, but I've thought about remaking Soder's Legend of the Lost Treasure, Hero of the Rails, The Great Discovery, or The Adventure Begins. Mind if I make a Trackmaster Duck based on yours? I don't mind at all. Have you or will you make the narrow gauge engines in Trackmaster 2? Will there be a video on Custom Duck? Who's your favorite Thomas character? And what's your favorite video you have ever made, production and final product wise? I don't really have any plans for the narrow gauge engines, since I want them to be in scale to the Season 4 props, but if I were to make them, I'd make them in the large scale props from Season 5. As for Duck, I'll be covering him in the next episode of Nicco's Customs, so stay tuned for that. For my favorite Thomas character, I would have to say Murdoch. I love his personality and I just love the 9Fs so much. They look amazing. I also gotta say, I love his Spotlight episode Peace and Quiet, one of my favorites from Season 7. Lastly, my favorite video that I've made would have to be the Mad Bomber remake. It was pretty different from what I usually make, considering that I actually used explosions, and I had to use another Thomas just for the first explosion. It had to be one of the most funnest things I had to film yet, along with the 800 subscriber special, and getting to edit the video was pretty fun as well. However, the final product was amazing. It was better than I expected, and I was very proud of myself. And I'm very glad that everyone else enjoyed the video as well. Are you going in order from each episode and season? If you're talking about my Blue Train with Friend remake series, I really go by any episode I can make or just feel like making. One question: what's your favorite narrow gauge engine? My favorite narrow gauge engine would have to be Peter Sam. I love his chipper attitude and I love his design as well. What is your favorite season of Thomas? It's a hard choice, but my favorite season would have to be Season 3. I love the style of Season 3 so much, and I love how the characters look. The world seems so bright and colorful, and the nighttime scenes look incredible. I do enjoy the crashes a lot in this season, but they cannot match Season 5. If you had to do your own version of one of the Thomas and Friends movies and episodes, which movie and episode would it be? If you had to make yourself as a Thomas and Friends character, what class of engine, what railway, and what color? What do you like to do your own stories and remakes with, the toys or the games? And if you had to give a Thomas and Friends character more screen time other than those that Tim sheds, which engine would it be? If I had to do my own version for one of the movies, I would have to go with Magic Railroad. If I were to fix it, I would remove any elements of shining time involved, get rid of Lily, Burnett, and all the real-life actors in the movie, and actually use the human characters from Thomas, like Sir Topham Hatt. Get rid of any element of magic, and try to keep the movie more like how the first 5 seasons were. I guess you can keep Diesel 10 and Splatter and Dodge in the film, but instead of trying to get rid of steam engines by destroying the magic engine, have them try to get rid of the steam engines to replace them with diesel engines, something that's already been a premise in the show before, with Diesel. I feel that this would be a much better take on Magic Railroad in my opinion, but again, it's just an idea. And for my own version of an episode, I'd probably try to replace Better Late Than Never with a much better story, like Drip Tank. I feel Better Late Than Never is just a pointless episode, as there's no action and it's kinda boring. So having a model series adaptation of Drip Tank, or even Cross Lines, would make a much better episode. But again, it's just an idea. If I had to make myself as a Thomas character, I'd probably make an NER Class S2. I mean, looking at the photo of this engine, it just looks amazing. And I also really like the design. For railways, it'd obviously be the NER, and for colors, either BR Black or Apple Green. For making my own stories, I enjoy using the Trackmasters a lot more for this. I find it a lot of fun, and I enjoy making them with the Trackmasters. But when it comes to remakes, it's kinda hard to choose between Trackmaster or the games, as I kinda enjoy doing both. But if I had to choose one, I'd have to go with the games. But that doesn't mean I don't like doing remakes with the Trackmasters. And lastly, if I had to give another character more screen time, I'd have to go with Murdoch. And honestly, I think he'd have some good interaction with some of the characters, like Henry, since they're 2 heavy goods engines. You are really good at making customs, but what do you prefer? If you're asking, do I enjoy making customs more than buying the actual characters in Trackmaster and Playrail, I gotta say, I enjoy making the customs more. But I prefer making customs of characters only if the Trackmaster and Playrail models don't look the best in my opinion. Hypothetically, if Percy ate a table, will he be okay?
Alright, you ready, Percy? What are we doing, Thomas? Oh, just a little test I want to try out.
Thomas, this is the stupidest idea yet.
Oh, whatever, Toby. Just watch. Thomas, what in the world?
Ah, crap.
Just explain to me, Thomas, how do you think Percy was meant to eat a table?
You know what? Honestly, I had no idea either. Anyways, next question. What's the train's body count? Okay, let's just...
Gotta get away! Thomas, please! You gotta help me! James is after me!
Whoa. Calm down, Percy, before you burst your boiler. Now, tell me what is going on. Well, I may have scratched James's paintwork while on the way to my next job, but, he's gone a bit insane now, and he's harming anybody who scratches his paintwork.
Wait, James, I'm sorry, I was just late with the kipper. I didn't mean to...
Oh my, Thomas, you gotta help me, please.
Thought you could get away from me from scratching my paintwork?
Wait, no, James, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Come on, Percy, you're not getting away that easy. Come on.
No, I'm sorry.
Man, something must have been in that kill this morning. Do you own any models of Cranky or have a custom Cranky? Your personal top 5 worst episodes of Thomas, Dennis, or Norman? And do you still make Tugs models? I do own a wooden railway Cranky, however, I'd rather own the Bachmann Cranky. And also, yes, I do have a custom Cranky model, however, it is due for some updates. My top 5 worst Thomas episodes would have to be Better Late Than Never, Rosie's Funfair Special, The Old Bridge, Up and Away, and A Shed for Edward. Also, I would have to choose Dennis. I don't know, I'm not too much of a fan of Norman. And lastly, yes, I still do make Tugs models, however not as often as I used to. But I do have plans on updating all my Tugs models sooner or later. How many customs had you in the past to the present day? Which custom is your favorite and least favorite? And do you ever plan on doing the narrow gauge? If so, how would you do them? Back then I had around close to 16 to 20 customs. But nowadays, I have around 48 customs. Some that are finished and you've seen before, but some are still in the works. My favorite custom would have to be Duck, as I loved how he turned out and he just looks amazing. However, my least favorite custom would have to be between Fergus and Stanley. I've grown to not like these models anymore, as Fergus doesn't look the best, and for my Stanley model, he just needs a bit of work on the back. However, I do plan on giving these to a major overhaul at some point. And lastly, I don't really plan on doing the narrow gauge engines, but if I do plan to do them in the future, I'd definitely try to make them look like the Season 5 large-scale props, so it can be just like how the series was. The Capsule Playrail being the Season 4 style models, and the Trackmasters being the Season 5 style models. Favorite RWS book? My favorite book from the Railway series would have to be Enterprising Engines. I honestly love the stories in the book, and I like seeing Oliver's escape in this version, although the TV series version is also really good too. Honestly, my favorite story from that book has to be Super Rescue. Gotta love an epic Henry story. What are your thoughts on the band Radiohead? Top 5 or top 10 music artists, and favorite book? Never really heard of the band Radiohead. I don't really have a top 10 or top 5 music artists, as I tend to listen to a lot of music, like jazz or something like that. And my favorite book is what I basically said earlier, Enterprising Engines. Who is your favorite Thomas character? What was your favorite video to record? And finally, what is your favorite Thomas movie? My favorite Thomas character is Murdoch. My favorite video to record would have to be a mix between The Mad Bomber and the 800 subscriber special. And lastly, my favorite Thomas movie would have to be a mix between Soder's Legend of the Lost Treasure and The Great Discovery. What was your first ever custom? What is your favorite custom you've made? Have you planned on making a custom Boko? And lastly, who inspired you to start a YouTube channel? My first ever custom was a horrendous Glenn custom that I just hate a lot. However, he wasn't even made from a Trackmaster model, as he was made from a Lego car chassis. However, my first actual ever custom for Trackmasters would have to be Duck. My favorite custom I've made would have to be Duck. I also planned on trying to make a custom Boko, however, I think I might try and get the Trackmaster, Tomy, or Playrail Boko. And for the final question, who inspired you to start your channel? It would have to be the many creators in this fandom. Seeing what people have produced because of Thomas has made me want to start making my own Thomas content as well. And I'm very proud and happy to be doing what I'm doing today.